I know you have enough things keeping you up at night, so I really don't want to scare you. But I do want to strongly encourage you to vote. Because if you don't, people who think Donald Trump won in 2020 could control future elections. Look at all these names. All these election deniers won the Republican nomination last week and will advance to the general election. In fact, take a look at these numbers. According to 538 in my own team's research, at least 125 nominees, both federal and state level, believe Donald Trump won the election. And at least 49 are not sure or go back and forth. That's 174. 174 nominees who question the validity of our democratic republic. Oh, goodness. So let's make it make sense. I'm joined now by Rick Hasen. He is the director of the Safeguarding Democracy Project and a professor of law and politics at UCLA. Rick, I'm very concerned. So let's start in Arizona, okay? Election denier Kari Lake, she won the Republican nomination for governor. She is at a campaign rally last month, and this is what she had to say. Listen to this.
I'm sorry to say it, I would love to see people in handcuffs. And I want a long perp walk that we can all watch them walk. We need to lock these people up. Lock them up.
So, Rick, in that clip, she is talking about the current Republican governor of the state, Doug Ducey, saying that she wants him in handcuffs. Then on Saturday, you have this from Ducey, who tweets, as co-chairman of the Republican Governors Association, our organization is already active on the airwaves supporting Kari Lake's candidacy. Lake says she wants him in handcuffs one minute, then the next he's throwing his support behind her. Do you think more establishment Republicans are going to now jump on the election denier bandwagon just to try to win elections in November?
Well, let's hope that there's a difference between what they say and what they actually do. It's pretty clear that the Trumpist wing of the Republican Party is dominant among the Republican primary voters. And so saying things like the last election was stolen because Donald Trump keeps saying it is a way to stay in his good graces and to please the base. We don't know how serious some of these people are, but I do think, given the way that we run our presidential elections, it's going to be really dangerous if we have governors or secretaries of state who claim that the last election was stolen and who might do something to manipulate election results in 2024 if it doesn't go the way of Donald Trump or whoever would be the Trumpist candidate in 2024.
It's very concerning. I mean, in Arizona, you have Kari Lake as the Republican nominee for governor, an election denier. And then you've got Mark Finchem, who is a state lawmaker who also won the Republican nomination for Secretary of State, just like you said. And he would be the state's top election official. So explain to folks what a Finchem-Lake combo could do to future election results in a state like Arizona that was critical in 2020, and I would argue it's going to be critical in 2024.
Well, you know, the Secretary of State has the role as the chief election officer of the state, not actually the person who's counting the votes. That's done at the county level, but who brings all the votes together and tells you who the winner and the loser is. They also have a lot of control over setting the rules for how elections are conducted. You can imagine, you know, a Secretary of State who wants to do mischief could say, listen, I think there was fraud that went on in Democratic areas of the state. I don't trust these results, and ask the state legislature to try to come up with some alternative slate of electors, kind of trying to do the same play that Donald Trump ran in 2020. That's why it's crucial that Congress passes a law, which is being considered now, that would change the rules for how much power these Secretary of State and these governors have if they try to manipulate election outcomes.
And that is and if we could, let's talk about that law for a second, because I think it's important for people to know that that could have real implications right away if it gets passed. So this is the Electoral Count Act, correct? What is so critical about it? Yes. So, Electoral Count Reform Act. Let's talk about it.
So back in 1887, after a disputed 1876 election, Congress passed a series of rules for how it goes through the process of counting electoral college votes. It sounds really wonky and technical, and it is. It's really poorly written. Those of us in the field can't even agree on what it means. And Donald Trump tried to manipulate the language in that act to allow states to send in alternative slates of electors, to try to say that Mike Pence could just unilaterally declare that some states' electoral counts couldn't be counted. And the idea of this new legislation would be to close a lot of those loopholes so that people couldn't try to manipulate things. And one of the things it would do is, if you have a rogue governor that tries to not follow the election results, you'd bring the federal courts in to make sure that there's an accurate and fair count and reporting of who's actually won the electoral college votes in that state.
Now, this is a bipartisan bill, and as folks know, the Senate is at home now. They're on recess, but they look to hopefully take this up when they get back this fall. So, Rick, before we go, I think that social media is an important part of this. I think that they've helped spread lies about the 2020 election. You have been writing about this. Now, you say Facebook is quietly changing some of the safeguards to weed out misinformation. So what in the world is really going on here? Because I thought that they made, not even I thought, I worked a campaign where they made a very big deal about working with us after some arm twisting to put safeguards in place.
Right. So both Facebook and Twitter took lots of steps during 2020 after they were criticized in 2016 for allowing Russian government agents and others to pose as black activists and to do other things to try to rile people up and to mess with our elections. You may remember Facebook and Twitter, they labeled posts. Eventually, they deplatformed Donald Trump. But now it seems from reporting that both Facebook and Twitter are putting less resources into this. Maybe they're anticipating a Republican control of Congress in 2022, and they don't want to alienate those who are going to have some real power. So I think that may be part of what's going on here, but it's very dangerous for democracy if these social media companies pull back from what they've been doing in the past.
Very scary stuff. Rick Hasen, thank you. I would take your class any day, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.